It's time for some top knots, top knots.
Is that the theme song?
Gonna get you some top knots, top knots.
Top knots. Hello, and welcome to Hardly Holidays, the sweet and condensed version of our normal show. And today is day 10. That's right, guys. You've made it all the way. It is the last day of Hardly Holidays. I'm Kelly, and this
is SP. It is day 10. Happy holidays, Cal.
Happy holidays.
We've gone through
SP.
9 full days.
Yeah.
Lists, games, and everything in between. So if you're still hanging with us on day 10, thank you for being a part of our Hardly Working and Hardly Holidays family. But today is like no other day. It's the day that I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
It's what we affectionately call our top knots.
Yeah.
Now, if you have been listening, you've already heard us explain this, but let me give you a quick version of this. If you'd like to do top knots with us or with someone in your life, you can go to our Hardly Working Insta. That's the username for that, Hardly Working Insta. In the bio, you can download the PDF so you can fill in yours as well. But today is top knots. This is something that Kelly and I have done for years and years and years. Yeah. At the end of every year, we go through our calendar roll. We go through our calendar and photo roll in text messages and anything you want to go through highlights from this year. Our best moments, our worst moments, the best being the top, the worst being the knots, and the weird moments in between. And we categorize them and we take a look back before planning the future. And that's what we're going to do today.
Yep.
Before we do this, though, we always take a look back at our year prior.
Yeah.
And since we didn't have a podcast a year ago, this will be new info for everybody, seeing what our tops and our knots from 2022 was as we jump into 2023.
Yep. And it's going to be a surprise for us because I have not looked at my top knots since last year. I know that it's been open and we have kind of gone through our worst moments, but
I cannot emphasize
I don't know
how little Kelly prepares for this show.
That's not true.
It's not true
here's
at
the
all.
deal.
Just joking.
We normally share our top knots with each other at home, or actually normally we're somewhere. Normally Hawaii. Because we normally take a vacation.
Normally we did it once.
Normally somewhere on vacation is normally where we do this, where we sit down and do our top knots and we share them with each other. But we've waited to share our top knots this year. Live on the show. So you're welcome, number one. But we also haven't, we normally look back at the year too. And I wanted to be surprised. Yeah. So I didn't look at anything yet. So
that's good.
You're going to hear how amazing and awesome and cool our lives were last year. And then you're going to hear just how mundane it was this year.
All right. So here's what we'll do.
At least for me, this was the hardest year for me to do my top knots.
It was definitely different. Okay. So here's what we'll do. Give me 10 through 6, just kind of in a row. And then I'll give you 10 through 6. Then we'll go 5. We'll break down 5 through 1.
So this is 2022.
2022.
Is that what we're doing?
A recap of how great 2022 was, starting with Kelly's number 10 through 6.
Number 10 was the Katy Perry concert in Vegas.
I forgot about that. That was fun.
Yeah, and our
Resorts World.
And our trip, where we just walked the strip and we ate at Italy, if you remember, with our hotel credit that we got from staying at the Bellagio or wherever we were staying
being an Amex Platinum member or whatever.
Yeah. If you remember this, we had a lot of time with our DB fam.
Yeah.
So we went to Universal for a couple of days with them, which was so fun.
Shout out to DB Productions.
Yep. We had Kayla's wedding.
Yeah.
Kayla and Robbie.
I've done a few Kaylee's weddings in my time too.
And then they also came out here and we went to Din Tai Fung with everyone, if you remember. When it was still at not the Glendale Galleria, but the Americana brand. Yeah.
So that's your 10 through 6?
No, that's 9. Number 8 is, it was an actual year of self-care for me. I committed to Brooke Williams for the whole year with my mom. I was reading a lot. My Kindle, I read tons of books.
We talked about that a couple episodes ago.
Mm-hmm. I got my nails done more frequently, which is just a self-care thing for me. I'm really bad at self-care. Not anymore. I'm getting better at it. And then I found some shows just for me.
Oh boy, did you.
Yeah. Number 7 was Disney and Magnolia Day with my parents. I went to Disney with my parents. If you remember, they had like tickets. Do you remember this? My mom was going with the media department and my dad got an extra ticket. And so my dad and I spent most of the day together. My mom joined us at some point in time.
But Magnolia's in Texas. Is that
and then we went to Texas. You and I were out there at the Gaylord and my parents came out.
Yeah, I think we were doing that Sonic gig. I think it was Sonic.
Something, but I went and spent the whole day with them out in Waco.
Yeah.
And number 6 was therapy. I did therapy last year for a long time with Trisha.
Yeah,
My
she's the
therapist.
best.
She's the best.
Okay, my 10 through 6 are cenotes with the buds. Those are underwater.
Oh, yeah.
Or underground water caves in
So
Mexico.
fun. Yeah.
Very fun. Finding Din Tai Fung was my number 9.
Ooh,
shout out to
Andy.
Anders
Yeah.
for showing us Din Tai Fung, which has become a staple in our life now.
Oh, yeah.
It is like our
It
go-to
is
spot.
the thing that even our daughter, it's what she wants.
Number 8 was European vacation. Oh, fancy. Yeah, we did a like 12-day cruise with your parents.
Yeah, that's higher on my list.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll talk about it then. 7 is, I thought this said redoing our bathroom.
Oh, yeah. We
did that, which we're already talking about redoing again.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, but it's cool. I like that. 6 was really starting Bumble Booth.
Oh, that was later for me, higher for me.
Yeah. Well, obviously it's your business.
Yeah.
All right. So let's hear your number 5s. Let's get through these and then a couple of the knots before we get into this.
How many more do you want me to do up until?
Oh, yeah. Give me your number 5 now.
Family beach days during that summer.
Good times. How about 4?
4 was Disney days with B and her riding her first roller coaster.
Oh,
Big
yeah.
Thunder
That's
Mountain.
like when I was gone and stuff. That was really cool.
Yeah.
My 5 was Universal with the DB fam, with our DB Productions
so
family.
fun. Such a fun trip.
Number 4
Universal
was
Orlando, if anyone's wondering, which is why it's better than Universal Hollywood. Anyway.
Number 4 was discovering self-care with you and, ways to wind down at night and all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah. That's great.
That was number 4.
Number 3 was our cruise trip with my parents, the 12-day.
Yep. The
or
European
10-day
vacation.
European vacation. So fun. Such a good time and got to create some really cool memories with my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
And got to go to Europe with them for the first time.
And you got to solidify your place in their life
As their favorite. Mm-hmm. That's right, Ryan and Sean. You heard it. Their favorite.
You could have Grandma Ryan.
What was your number 3?
My number 3
From last
was... this is a little bit introspective. Kelly reminding me I need to find my confidence again.
Oh, yeah.
Which, without explanation, is a little odd. But COVID really did something weird to me. I don't mean the virus itself. I mean the time of having to be off of stages and figure out who I am off of the stage and my own self-worth. And I'm still like working through that. My anxiety since COVID started is just drastically higher.
Yeah.
Because there's this fear of like, it's whatever the thing is, the gig, whatever is not going to work out or whatever. So yeah, you pushing me to be like, I need you to find that cocky arrogance again.
It's because you do. And you did.
I'm working on it, getting there. Mm-hmm. What was your number 2?
Number 2, I think, was your number 1. But number 2 was the Turning Red world premiere that we went to all together as a family. You weren't working. You, me, and Brooklyn got to go.
That is my number 1. Go for it. I'll explain a little bit in a second.
The best world premiere I've been to thus far. So fun, so cool. Saw Billie Eilish, which was pretty cool too. But it was cool to take Brooklyn to her first world premiere and to have you truly not working, because I've been to now a ton more where you've been working. It's just different.
Yeah. This one was awesome. They shut down Hollywood and Highland on the streets. There's huge red carpet, all red everything because it was turning red. And it was the first time Brooklyn had ever gone. Was it the first time you had ever gone to a world premiere?
It was the very first time I'd ever gone to a world premiere as well.
So we're all getting to go, big family event, photos on the red carpet, seeing the movie early. It was like just a blast.
And the food afterward was so fun. They had like a little Panda Express box.
Yeah, like a bento box.
Which is what got us interested in dim sum, because we were like, we'd like to try, because they had a bao bun. Yeah.
But yeah, that was really, really cool. It was fun because we told Brooklyn, we're like, this is a really big deal. It's really special. Most people never get to go to a world premiere. Ever. And we went, she had a great time. And then 2 weeks later, they're like, you want to come to this other one? And we're like, okay, so sometimes it happens a lot.
And now we've been to a couple more together.
Yeah, we've been to a few. But anyway, that was my number 1 as well. But I can flip flop my number 2 and number 1.
Okay.
So you've got number 1 left, right?
Mm-hmm. What was your number 2?
Well, what you just explained would be my number 2. My actual number 2, which is easily swapped with number 1, is something similar. Having my face on the El Capitan kiosk on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
That was so cool.
Which is actually where the premiere was as well. I didn't do the premiere. Corey did it, but we did a stage show at El Capitan leading or through the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks of Turning Red. So it was really fun, but we also got to have literally our faces on the movie theater kiosk on Ventura Boulevard.
It was really cool.
I remember after like the last show of one of the nights, it was like 10 at night. I was walking across the street to my car and I was looking down at the Hollywood stars on Hollywood Boulevard, and I was like, this is cool. Like, look at all these people. And then I just look up and there's my face on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
And I was like, you got to just let it, like, you got to tap into this and appreciate it for what it is rather than just like crossing it off your list like you normally do. So my number 1 was that. And I have a photo from that too of like me holding Brooklyn, who was 7 at the time, I think. and we're on the Walk of Fame with my picture behind us, way in the background. And that's my favorite photo of the year too. So that was my number one. What about you?
My number one was quitting my 9 to 5 and starting what is now Bumble Booth.
Yeah. That's, I mean, obviously the biggest thing for your year that year.
Yeah. And it's the biggest thing for every year, but it's not my number one this year, but it was the biggest thing. I left in September and I had events happening that year. And the coolest thing.
That's September.
I know. I left September.
No, you had events that September.
Oh, I know, in September. But it's funny. I put that my favorite event from last year was the Porsche event, the K1 event at the Porsche Museum, which is insane because they were a return client this year. Yeah. And we did the Academy Museum with our photos in motion. And it was great. And it was so fun to see everyone again and be like, dang, like we've improved and we have new stuff to offer and they want it and they still trust us. So it's cool. It was, I think for me, looking at it now, and we're talking about 2022, we're about to go into 2023, but it is a good reminder of just how far I've come with my photo booth business, how much trust you've put in me to be like, okay, you want to buy that thing? That's a lot of money, but go for it. Yeah. And to like be able to be like, yeah, look where we were at. Like biggest income month was December. We've now booked out 4 times the photos in motion from you just trusting me to do it once at the Huff wedding. So it's cool.
So a year later, was it worth quitting your 9 to 5 to start your own business?
Oh yeah.
It's gotta be.
Oh yeah.
All right. Sure. Let's go through real quick before we get into 2023, the last part, some of the worst moments of 2022. Do you have anything from your list that we won't go through the whole thing, just a few honorable mentions?
I mean, the biggest one of them all would be Toast dying.
Yeah, my mom's corgi, which was originally my corgi. Yeah. He died.
He was all of ours.
Yep, that was last year.
Yeah, which is funny because on my runner-up moments, I also have new dog on there, which is now Scooter. So he died, and then we also got a new dog.
We didn't wait too long. We waited like a month.
A little bit longer than that, but yeah.
A month and a half. And I was like, I think it was more you, like, we got to get a dog for.
Yeah, I mean, she sent me, I remember the first time that she sent me a picture of any corgis, that was a corgi that we got. And I was like, yeah, let's go. 3 hours away. We'll drive. Let's go. Yeah. We got you, Mom. I was like, she needs an animal.
She does. And we did it.
She does. And she loves Scooter. And he's the best. And I love Scooter.
I know.
He doesn't love you so much, but that's okay.
I'll give you just one of my moments because it also leads into a little story here.
Okay.
Last year and then maybe 6 months of this year was very, very difficult for me. So this list is pretty long. But one that was worth mentioning was spilling a Stroop waffle on your mom's dress in Amsterdam.
Oh, that was so sad. We should have got another one.
If you don't know what a Stroop waffle is.
Oh, so good.
It's like a thin circular waffle that has caramel between the two pieces, but it's still very, very thin.
It's almost like a cookie.
Yeah. It's like a wafer cookie type thing. Yeah. And then they have chocolate either on the top half or the whole top.
Yeah, they'll dip it for you.
They'll dip it, yeah. So I guess it's 1/2.
And they're from Amsterdam, are they not?
I think so, yeah.
And so we got two fresh ones, like freshly made in front of our eyes.
Yeah, I'll put the photo right here. I don't have the after photo, but we have the cute before photo. Your mom was in this cute dress. It was her first time having worn it. I think it was a Lane Bryant dress. Does that make sense? Wow, it really is like burned a light into my blue memory. One.
Yeah.
And I think you were handing me a waffle or something.
We were going back and forth eating it.
Turned to your mom and I just knock all of this chocolate and waffle all over this beautiful light blue dress.
And then it goes to the floor.
And we had just flown to Amsterdam for a day. So we have no extra clothes, no hotel. Your poor mom had to walk around with a giant chocolate stain on her brand new dress from the morning until the rest of the day.
She got most of it off.
It was so embarrassing.
It's okay. She loves you like a son because you are a son.
I almost lost it there.
That's true. What made up for it is that we went and bought some Birkenstocks on sale. So she got a couple pairs and she was like, I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm sure I was like, buy whatever you want. I'm so sorry.
I think you went and found the dress on like Nordstrom and you were like, I'll buy it for you. My mom was like, no.
Yeah. Well, we had to see if it wouldn't work. It wouldn't come out.
Yeah.
And then I would buy it. But thankfully we didn't have to do that. Yeah. Anything else worth mentioning on yours before we go to 2023?
If you're looking for crazy stories,
always.
I'll share. This was my number one worst moment of 2022.
Wow.
So as you heard on SP's top list, we went to Cancun with our best friends, Nick and Simon. And the cenotes, there were pieces of it that were very, very fun. There was one piece that wasn't so fun. and they're very aware. And I love Simone. Simone pushed me to go and talk to someone, but I'll try to keep it short. But basically we upgraded to have like the best room there. Cause I was like, if we're going to go an all inclusive, like let's get the one. So it was one with a plunge pool on the very top. We booked through the website. Don't know what happened. Get there. They don't have a reservation, but I have a reservation number. So I'm showing them being like, yeah, look, I booked it. I booked it through your website, all that stuff. They finally get us a room. I know it's a long story, but we'll try to cut it short. Basically, they give us a room that's like all the way on like the corner of this resort. You walk inside, you can tell that there's things missing. Like there's a table missing. There's like random chairs missing. Not everything is like nicely done. I was like, this is interesting. It's weird. And then the next morning we're like awoken at like 9 a.m., 8 or 9 a.m. to construction that's happening in the unit next to us. And that happened every day we were there until we finally switched rooms. But basically we're guessing that this room wasn't actually ready for people to stay in. It's probably under construction. You can tell like the water pressure and stuff was off. There were, like I said, things missing, things broken. They probably weren't trying to rent it out, but because they couldn't find a reservation, I'm assuming they just put us into this one versus offering us a different one. Mind you, they do no refunds. They told me that a million times, but I called to see if, we could do something and they didn't really help me. And so I was like, whatever, we'll just stay here. It's fine. And then Simone really pushed me to go and talk to them because more and more stuff kept happening that I was like, this is weird. This is weird. This is weird. So I go to talk to somebody. I get treated as if I'm just a nuisance the whole time. Mind you, we had just gotten back from this trip to the cenotes. Simone is very pregnant at this point, like very, very pregnant. So she's running back to the room to pee maybe because she's so pregnant, or she just needs to lay down. She wasn't feeling good because she was pregnant. I don't know what it was. We were in a small bus. You had to go back to the room to grab something. Nick is obviously with Simone. I don't think she was feeling well.
She's definitely shouting all these details. She's on a treadmill right now listening to this.
Oh, 100%. Yes. And she can tell me because I don't remember all the way. I just remember everyone had to go somewhere. And then I was like, I'll just go talk to them and then we'll all meet for dinner. It's fine. It's good, So I go to try and talk to somebody. They aren't really helping me. They just keep reminding me that there's no refunds. And I'm like, that's okay. I don't want a refund. I just want to switch my room. Is there any way I can switch my room away from the one that has construction and that smells bad and that is missing things and is broken? They're like, we have to take you to the manager. And I was like, okay, after sitting here for 10 minutes talking to this guy. Mind you, we're in a different country. I do not speak Spanish. I took sign language in high school. It's not helpful here. Mm-mm. Okay.
And it's American Sign Language. So it's
not helpful anywhere other than America. But they take me to the manager who is just this douchebag guy. Like truly, there's a female in the room, but just this douchebag guy. And he sits me down, he leans back, kind of puts his hands behind his back, behind his head. You can imagine it. Mm-hmm. And he's like, so what's the problem? And I was like, oh, like, I was just wondering if I could switch rooms. And he was like, let me get this straight. So your room smells and there's construction going on and something's missing? Like that to me the whole time, as if he's questioning what this is a really long story.
It is.
As if he's questioning what I'm doing. All that to say, he walks away. I start crying because now I'm just like upset. I feel, what did I say? I felt small. I felt like I wasn't important. And he comes back into this room after being away for maybe a minute. I'm crying, full on crying. And I just look at him and I'm like, I'm fine. It doesn't matter. I don't need anything from you. I'm totally okay. And I leave this place and I walk out and I go and meet you guys for dinner. So it was the worst experience ever. Needless to say, they kept trying to get a hold of us. They called us again the next morning at like 9 a.m., woke us up after like spending our last night with Nick and Simone, finally found us, switched us into a better room that truly was better for the one day that we were there.
Well, it was a less expensive room, but it was much better for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, my biggest problem with the whole thing is they would not stop calling or knocking on our doors. And I had such an exhausting season that literally I was like, if I just sleep, I'll be happy. But like every hour, it was a phone. There's like 3 phones. What are those hotel rooms where you get a phone in the bathroom, a phone by both sides of the bed? Like it was a lot. And
sorry, it's such a long story.
And it feels like a lot of first world problems that you're describing. But in the midst of what was happening, it was just a lot of really rude people.
Yeah, it is a first world problem for sure. And like I said, I don't know that I'm one to normally complain or say stuff. Like we were there for 6 days, and it took me 3 or 4 to actually say something.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't really going to say anything, but it just kept getting worse and worse every day. Yeah. But I was like, I don't even need a nicer room. I just want to be in a room where I'm not getting woken up by construction as I'm here on the vacation that I paid a lot of money for to go to. Like, that's all that I want.
Yeah.
Needless to say, it was not an enjoyable all-inclusive
Company was great.
The company was great. And we had a show at one of the restaurants on our last day. But
well, that was 2022.
Sorry.
And we've left that in the rear view mirror, just like we're about to do with 2023. We're going to hit you with our tops and then go through our knots and then give you a little peek into what we're hoping to do and accomplish in 2023 as well. This one is going to be a longer one because we are going to go back and forth one by one in our top 10s and hear what the year 2023 has to blear. There wasn't another rhyme, but I was hoping I'd come up with something.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Do you have a runner-up? Because I have 11.
Oh, I have a lot of runner-ups.
But do you have like a number 11? Because I have a distinct
because
number
one got
11.
pushed out recently.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure. So top 11.
Oh, we're okay. Great. Well,
Because I have an 11th.
let's just do top 10, and then we can hit some runner-ups if they don't get mentioned.
Okay.
Because I'm worried that some of each other's runner-ups will be on their list.
Okay.
All right. So why don't you hit me with Kelly's number 10?
I really want to give you my number 11. I'm not. Okay. My number 10 was working with DB on my own, which I did twice.
Tell me about it.
I got to stage manage
A very large
for
event.
Costa Vida. No, for Costa
for
Vida.
Costa Vida.
Right?
Well, you did Qualtrics.
Yeah. And I got to do stuff for entertainment for
Right,
Qualtrics.
right.
Yeah. So I got to work with like the Killers and Martha Stewart and Chip and Joanna Gaines, and Shaun White was there, who then I ran into later in the year, and Derek Huff was there, who then I ran into later in the year.
Oh,
it was
you're
a
so
weird
fancy. Such
thing. That was like in
circles
March.
you go in.
But yeah, but I got to, I was out there to do that. And then, so I did that with DB, and then I stage managed in Florida. That wasn't Costa Vida. I stage managed in Florida for that new company that you're working for.
Right, yeah. Partner.
Partner Co. So that was fun, where I got to literally be the stage manager.
Yeah, you killed it. It was cool.
It was really fun. I got a lot of time with Craig and for that gig, and I got a lot of time with Braden and Ashley and Smash and the other one. It was very, very fun. Fun to be out there. And it was out there all by myself in March without you.
It's true. How
I got
weird.
lots of time with them in the snow.
I love it. My number 10 was best summer ever. And I mean ever.
I knew that was going to make your list.
From childhood to adulthood and everywhere in between, spending time with you and B was incredible. We had so few gigs over the summer, or if we did have gigs, it wasn't on weeks that we had Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So like I didn't miss a single day.
You didn't
with
have any
Brooklyn.
gigs in summer.
And I had such a rough and busy year where I was truly upset with how much time I had lost with Brooklyn because I was doing gigs. So to have a summer where we just did all that stuff together, watching fun movies. We took her to Barbie, a ton of other different kids movies.
Didn't even make my top.
My anxiety was the lowest it's been through the summer. So that was just such a gift to me, because pulling the curtain back a little bit, I thought maybe something was broken with me.
Yeah.
I was like, is it going to be like this forever?
Yeah.
Because I just can't get to something normal.
Yeah.
So that was huge. But I didn't want to leave it off the list. A big part of my summer was discovering Rocket League tournaments. So that's really what this is. Rocket League is just soccer, but with cars. It's a video game. But I learned that the best players in the world compete in an esports tournament.
It was pretty fun.
It was pretty awesome.
You were really into it.
I
You were
know.
football.
It was my sports. So the best summer ever is my number 10.
That's great. Okay. My number 9. It did make it. I got to go to some premieres this year too, or fan events, whatever they're calling them.
Yeah.
I'm calling them premieres. But and while I got to go to Elemental with Brooklyn, which was really fun, and I got to go to Quiz Lady, I think there may have been another one. My favorite was that I got to go to the Loki season 2 premiere.
Yeah.
And I got to watch 2 episodes of it. I need you to hear me when I say this. Oh, thank you. I got this there. It's Loki on there too.
Minute Maid, Orange Juice, Loki, and Miss Minutes.
Yeah. I was not always a Loki fan. Like everyone, when like Avengers and Thor and all that came out, everyone's like, Loki, Tom Hiddleston, how great. And I was like, I don't get it. I don't understand. Then I watched Loki season 1 and I was like, I love this character arc that's happening because he's changed. He's different. So good. And I like watched that season multiple times. And so when it was season 2 was coming out, and I found out that he was going to be working it, I was like, oh my God, it'd be so cool to get invited. And guess what? I did get invited, and I got to bring Ashley May.
Minutes before you had
That's
to
true.
be there.
I got to invite Ashley May, and so we both went down. But it was just really cool because I really do love this TV show. It'd be like me getting to go to Bridgerton. the Bridgerton like premiere or Only Murders in the Building. It was so fun and so cool. Plus, it was so fun now to like know people. Like, I got to see Ramona there. That's where Holly and Eric were too. On like, because Holly works for Disney, for Marvel. It was so fun. Sorry.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And speaking of Holly and
was
Eric,
it that one? I think it was.
Yeah, it was. Speaking of Holly and Eric, they made my number 9.
Wow.
I'll tell you about in a sec, but that was very cool that you got to be at the Loki premiere. We did an episode and we talked about it. You can check it out. I don't know, season 1, maybe episode 6. Boy, that would be specific. Who knows? But yeah, that was great. But Holly and Eric did make it on my number 9 because Holly and Eric got married, which is very exciting. But they asked me to officiate the wedding, which I thought was just so sweet.
Oh yeah.
And it's the first time I've officiated a wedding in many, many years. Now I am officially ordained though, so whoever needs to get married,
this guy can do it.
It's only $15,000 an hour,
a minute. Just kidding.
No, it was really cool. I do love both of them. They are so wonderful. They are some of my we've talked about it before on the show many times. Tricky. The older you get, the harder it is to meet new friends, and these are 2 new friends that have been very cool and very fun to meet later on in our story.
Yeah.
I was going to say later in life, but later on. So I was very excited, not just that they're getting married, but to get to be a part of their special day so much. So that was very cool. That was my number 9, was marrying Holly and Eric.
That's fun. I missed that because I was at a different event, but that's next for me, I guess. Is my number 8 is the different events that I got to do this year, which I guess is just would be a lot, but I put it all together as one. But yeah, that it was a cool year of like growing things that I got to do.
Yeah.
Starting with working at Walt Disney Studios.
Yeah.
For the Saturday's premiere with Gina. Flying to New York to do an event at Wildflower Farms.
You went to New York this year?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, you came with me. We did an event in New York. We did Rosalind Sanchez's 50th birthday party.
You flew to Orlando, I think, too.
No, but we did fly to Louisiana, which is later on, Louisiana to do an event as well. And then, of course, doing the Huff wedding. I can say this now, but I can't go into detail, but doing Milo and Jera's wedding as well. Which is pretty close to the Huff wedding. It was crazy. Yeah. But it's just some really cool events that I got to do. Thank you, Troy. My favorite event coordinator in person ever. Love him. But yeah, it's just really cool to see how far I've grown and to be able to say that I've done and worked with some really cool and crazy people.
Nice.
That also got me tons and tons of gigs from working with people.
That's what it's about.
So anyway.
My number 8 was Disneyland with the girls.
Disney World with the girls?
Yep, and that's what it says on my notes. Disney World with the girls.
I was like, I don't like going to Disneyland.
Yeah, we never did a spoiler cast on it. That's not what we call it anyway. We never did a deep dive into that trip. Yeah. And it feels like so long ago. But it's just September. Yeah. Andy and Hannah drove out from Tennessee to meet us. We were doing a gig in Orlando. And we spent, 4 days at Disney World, something like that. 4 or 5, yeah. And it was good because they're some of our favorite people and very close friends of ours. And we used to hang out a lot, but now since they moved, we haven't had a lot of opportunities. Oddly enough, this is, I think, our 3rd vacation with them.
It is, yeah.
So we had
planning
a great time.
Next year.
Yeah, which I think I know where we're going.
New York.
But yeah, I think so.
That made my list too.
Well, I'll save your details of it then. Why don't you tell me what your number 7 is?
Okay, my number 7 was my birthday day.
Really?
Yeah, I know. It made the list. Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit, but it was the first year. Well, hear me. We did a big 30th birthday party. That was like super fun. This was the first year that in a long time that my birthday felt like my birthday, which we talked about. And we went to Din Tai Fung. We walked around the mall. You bought me some things. I don't know what else we did that day.
Well, whatever it was, it must have been
good.
We
hung out early in the day. But my birthday is so close to Christmas that it always just kind of gets tied in with that. And it's normally really crazy. And this year I really was like, it's just going to be a year. And hear me when I say this, I know that you always are intentional with what you do. And I'm really grateful for that. But because I was so busy with so many gigs, I was like, it's just going to be another day that goes by. Like, it's not going to feel like anything. I'm sure I'll be sad about it, which I was sad about it leading up to it.
Which sucked because it turned out to be so great.
It did. It made my list. But it was just a really nice day. Like, I think it was a much needed break that I think we both needed in the craziness of December. It was just really fun. And like truly, we just sat at Din Tai Fung and ate, and I had a couple of drinks, and we just sat and talked and just did normal people stuff, which sounds very weird, but like,
well, we talked about it. It was normal stuff, but it had a level of intentionality that really made it feel special.
Yeah. Well, and like you and I, our lives, I think a lot of people would think that our lives are extraordinary or extraordinary. Like
possibly
we travel a lot for work, and we work. I mean, I just mentioned all the events that we've done. Like we do work in the industry, you too, like doing crazy things that are for us are just normal. Sometimes I think we forget that like not everything has to be extravagant, like our life. Like we don't have to fly to Hawaii to have a great birthday or anniversary. Like we can just go to Din Tai Fung, one of the places that we love so much, or to a favorite food spot and walk around the mall.
100%.
And it's great.
Agree.
Go to Target.
Yeah. Might be a life changer for us.
I know.
Save us a lot of airfare.
It's true.
So that was your number 7, right?
Yeah. What was your number 7?
Oh, you ready for it?
Dun, dun, dun. What? Yeah, that was on my list too.
Oh, I will be honest with you.
It's not on your list.
Was that Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't know what music cue that is. Now I do. Oh, she's not on my list at all. Not a single spot gets
Didn't
held.
think so.
My number 7 is the Kansas City pizza competition.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot that you did that.
That's why I love doing Top Knots. So I was flown out to host a pizza competition for the 3rd biggest pizza place in the country. It was a freaking blast. It was in a convention center. There was so many cool vendors everywhere. We may have talked about it on the show. I don't think we did. But for 1 full hour, we had 4 chefs making their pizza, cooking their pizza, serving their pizza, and to a panel of judges. There was bleachers full of people that worked with, like at their stores or in their regions. This was a national company. And so for me, it was basically hosting a TV show for an hour with no breaks.
Yeah.
It was talking to the crowd. It was getting them pumped up. It was going from station to station. All right, what are we making? Where are you from? Who you represent? All that stuff for an hour, which might be a nightmare for some people to be like, how would I talk for an hour? It was my dream. I was like, this is, if I could just host competitive food shows, I think I would be happy. It was that freaking good. It was that much fun.
Yeah.
And I will say this too. The other icing on the cake to this, that would have been far and away great for me, period. But as I was walking into the convention center, or I could see it from my hotel, a big sign on the kiosk was for Derek Huff's show. Mm-hmm. And I was like, our world's like, I think we just keep going the right direction where I'm like, I'm doing an event in the same building that Derek's going to be doing an event. He's a celebrity. I'm me. But like, that's the right direction. I'm doing something here. He's going to do it. And I'm going to see him at his wedding because we're working like it all just kind of felt like, you know, those little signs that you're like, okay, keep going this direction.
Yeah, you're doing good.
So Kansas City pizza competition. That was my number 7. What's your number 6?
My number 6 was Philly.
Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were out there for work.
Yeah.
I don't know if it made your list, but we were out there for
it did.
For NTI. Do you want to talk about it when we get to it on yours then?
Totally up to you.
Yeah, it was great. You know, something we've been trying to do this year that we've kind of been talking to each other about is it sounds more fun than it is and really bougie, but it's not. When you travel for work, it's tiring and it's exhausting. We are also homebodies. And so normally when we travel, we like to stay in our hotel room and we'll DoorDash because why are we going to go out?
And we only have a couple hours between a general session and a rehearsal and the evening session. Like,
it's true.
Yeah.
But this year I feel like we've been trying to be very intentional that when we go somewhere, if we can, we try to get out and see stuff, especially in the walking cities like Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. So we spent a lot of time like walking around. We got to go see the Liberty Bell. We saw where they signed the Declaration of Independence. We walked through a bunch of parks and things like that. And then we also tried a ton of food and it was so like surprisingly
crazy
good.
Crazy.
We also celebrated our anniversary out there, which was so fun.
Which pretty much always falls in the same time as NTI.
Yeah. So it was just really good, fun highlight of my year.
Yeah.
When I think about Philadelphia and some of the food places we went to and getting to walk around and do stuff. So I really enjoyed it.
Well, I'll save my thoughts until I get to that. Okay. But my next one
number
is
6.
Philadelphia. I'm just kidding.
Is it really?
No. My number 6 is, this was a big part of my year, new on-screen hosting agent and new commercial agents.
Yeah, that made me runner up.
Yeah, that was one of the goals of this year for me, was to get some new representation. So you said it was on your runner-ups this year? Nice. My first thing was, if you don't know how the industry works, there's like an agent for everything. You could have a touring agent, a live agent, a podcasting agent, a live television agent, a movie agent, like commercial. It could be a bazillion things. So it's very common for people to change their representation as their credits expand. They can go to bigger agencies that have bigger connections, that kind of stuff. And I have never had an on-screen hosting agent.
Yeah.
Like that's their specific thing. Like if you wanted to go to Broadway, you better have someone who's doing stage shows or theatrical.
Yeah.
You have to have the right person. And this was the first year that I was really intentional. Like, this is what I want to do. And I was able to make it happen. The commercial agents were just icing on the cake. I hit up my hosting agent and I was like, hey, do you know anybody? He's like, I'll set up a meeting with the people in my company. And we did. And we were just chit-chatting over Zoom. And I was like, this meeting should get started soon. And then they're like, well, we love you and we'd love to have you on the team. I was like, oh, this meeting's already happened. Great.
Yeah.
Great.
It's done now.
So, but it's such a huge thing for me to have some legit representation in terms of on-screen stuff. So that was my number 6, I believe. Yes, 6.
Yeah.
What's your 5?
So I moved some stuff around. Number 5 is the podcast.
What?
I know. Look, it made it.
Wait, but it didn't earlier.
I know, probably because I had to go back and rearrange and move some stuff around, and I did. And
to clarify again, we have not heard, but Kelly mentioned, she's like, the podcast didn't make my top 10.
But it is. The more I thought about it, the more I was like, yeah, that should be on my top, because it is a special time where you and I really just get to talk, and I mean, we talk all of the time.
That's true.
But that we get to talk and put it down. You said it today. Like, it's something that Brooklyn will always get to look back on if anything were to ever happen to any of us before she's older.
Well, ever.
Or ever. Like,
starting now.
She'll have this to look back on, and we'll have it to look back on of us when we were in our 30s.
Yeah. And she'll be able to look back on her own private podcast that we don't publish, but is up on YouTube. Like, she'll see how she's grown.
But I think it's been really good. I think it's helped me grow a lot, get more comfortable with like sharing stuff and just being who I am, being confident in who I am. I think it's been good for you too, and really stretched you to be like, I got to have something ready every week.
Oh yeah. This obviously, well, probably to most people made it on my list, but higher up. So I'll give you my thoughts as we get there, but
it's been really good.
I'm glad it's been good for you. I'm glad it made your list.
Yeah.
Makes me happy.
That's good. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is the Sprouts commercial that I shot.
Oh yeah.
The Sprouts shoot, for a couple different reasons. One, I've done quite a few commercials, and on like television things, but most of which people never see. And that's just part of how the industry works. You can film a lot of stuff and then client goes a different way, or it only gets shown on certain streamers. Like, who knows what the reasons are. So I've done a lot of stuff that people have never seen. This was the first time that people started seeing it organically. Because if you haven't seen it, I was basically the fall festival spokesperson for Sprouts. Oh, sorry. Couldn't have possibly picked a worse wrong name. Yeah. I assume that they're competitors. I don't really know. Anyway, but I was their spokesperson. And so we did, we brought people into the store. They tried the chips and the cookies and all that kind of stuff. It was a lot of fun, but it got posted all over the internet. I don't know if it was on television, but a lot of people saw it. What was cool for me was not only just booking that job, but a couple weeks before, I had booked basically that same job, but for a different company. This company called Dandy Men, which is like a men's grooming company. And we're doing interviews with people, man on the street style, like, what's your routine? And try this, blah, blah, blah. And so that company that produced that commercial did the Sprouts commercial too. And I was like, what's up? We're back again. This is crazy that like I've been booked with you guys twice in a row in the course of roughly like a month. Yeah. So I was like, dang, I'm feeling pretty good about this. This company really knows me and loves me, all this stuff. Then my agent, my on-screen hosting agent, because it was a commercial, but it still was kind of hosting. And he just goes, do you play baseball? And I was like, oh boy. Like, I'm going to have to figure out how to talk about baseball. And he just goes, no. Because you're getting on base every single time I send you on an audition. Yeah. If you're not booking it, you're at least getting callbacks and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, I thought, isn't it normal to have more callbacks? He's like, not for you. Like, you're getting booked. I was like, it was just a shot in the arm that I really liked. So that's my number 5.
I love that.
My Sprouts commercial.
Aww.
What's your number 4?
My number 4. So at the beginning of this not this podcast, but the podcast in general. Yeah. One of the very first things we talked about was making friends in your 30s is hard. Yeah. But the amount of friends I've made in this year
because of the
negates
podcast.
that. No, just kidding. But truly, but this was my friendships, specifically Ashley May, and all the time that I've gotten with her.
Are these new friendships from this year?
Yeah, I would say new friendships. So Ashley May is one of those big ones.
Yeah.
Like we've become really good friends quite quickly, but we just are so much of the same person.
Yeah.
It's like finding another half in some ways.
Yeah.
It's
very
very
an alternate universe you.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really awesome. And so that's been like a really, really fun friendship where like, you know, we've hung out goodness, more times than I can count. Took her to Loki premiere, hung out for her birthday. We've done tons of stuff. Gone to the Academy Museum together, like lots of stuff. So it's been really, really cool. Scott Urata and Drag Brunch, which was like such a fun day.
It's probably my number 1 or number 2 runner-up moment.
Yeah, Drag Brunch. Yeah. I just put it into new friendships. But yeah, Scott Urata, like hanging out with him and like finding like a cool friendship in that too for me and for you. And then my brothers, like hanging out with them more and like getting more time, and Ryan being really intentional with like making sure we hang out, taking time and doing that stuff has just been like a really cool. It's weird. You don't think of your siblings as friends necessarily. They're your siblings, but to like realize as you get older, like they can be friends. Like they can be friends too. Yeah, they're siblings, but they're the friends that will always love you, even when they're mad at you.
Yeah.
Can't get rid of you. You know?
Yeah, and that's just a handful of the friendships that have started this year.
Oh yeah, Dana is another one, and there's a couple others that I can't think of right now because
Christina.
Christina, it's a great one too. I was like, I know that there's more.
Yeah, you put it out in the universe, and the universe was like, here
are a ton of friends. So it's been really, really, really fun year in that, and different and challenging in some ways. I've never online dated, and this kind of felt like that, but with friendships. In some ways, but it's been a really cool year for that. And it's been really life-giving for me. Good catch.
Thank you.
It's been really life-giving for me to find more for Danielle too. Like even we were friends, but like Danielle, hang out with her more. Just, I don't know how to say it. It's just been really life-giving to find more friendships and to be like, oh, like there's nothing wrong with me, which is I think what I felt like coming out of my 20s is like you lose a bunch of friends because those are the friends of convenience versus the friends that you actually want to be friends with or that actually want to be friends with you. So it's been a really, really cool and life-giving year in that way, just finding friends.
Yeah. That's awesome for you.
Yeah. And my daughter being my friend too now, who like texts me.
Oh, we'll talk about that soon. My number 4, though, was Philly, NTI in Philly, for quite a few reasons. The first one was exploring Philly. I also put Austin because...
Oh, we went to Austin.
We went to Austin for South by Southwest. I was hosting an event there. And we're like, we got to go out. And we explored Austin, got dinner. It was really, really nice.
Yeah.
But that was the same kind of vibe as Philadelphia. I think pretty much every day we're out there, we hit the streets.
That we could.
Yeah. And Philly is such a walking city that you just kind of walked everywhere. In fact, we walked the wrong places sometimes. We went to one place that had burnt down. So couldn't eat there. But we just got not just time together, which we get all the time, but we got to go out, see some historical things.
Yeah. Try
Ishkabibbles, which was great. Thank you, Ralph Garman, for the suggestion. And then there was 2 places other than, so 3 if you include Ishkabibbles for Philly cheesesteaks. And of course, I can't remember the names. There's 4 places.
You said Ishkabibbles. You had the Mexican restaurant that I can't remember.
That's one of the other one.
Sampan. Yeah, which was where Sampan, which is where we had our anniversary dinner.
Yes. So let me talk about those 2 real fast. The Mexican place, which I do not remember the name of. Sorry. Maybe the best Mexican food I've ever had.
Which is crazy because it's in Philadelphia and we live in California.
I could throw a rock and hit Mexico from here. We're so close.
We have like the
food's
best
so good.
Mexican food.
But their food at this place,
really
and if I could figure it out, I'll throw it on the video. It was insane. Then we went to Sampan, which, what would you call that?
It was like an Asian American fusion. Yeah. And the reason why I found it is because it's really popular for the graffiti bar that we didn't even make it into. But the graffiti bar is like where you can just go to the bar.
Yeah.
But it was so fun. And our waitress was so fun.
Oh, yeah.
If you remember her.
She was great.
Yeah.
But that was definitely one of my favorite things. Let's see. Got to do this with you. Go ahead.
And then there was that one place that was across the street from the convention center that I'm going to mention specifically because they had root beer on tap.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like we went there twice and I was like, I just want the root beer on tap. That's what I want. It was so good.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but it
Iron
was so
and
good.
Something.
It was something like that. Like iron in hand. Iron and...
something.
Sword.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But the other thing that was on here, is not just Philadelphia, but NTI. So this is a conference that I've gotten to be a part of for many, many years. Usually is always the DJ, usually as the co-host as well, with my good buddy John Holmer. And this was the first year. We've talked about it before. At its lowest, I think there was 7,000 people there. At its highest that I've been there, I think it was 15.
Yeah.
We've got the 50th anniversary coming up this coming May that I get to be a part of. But this was the first year that I was doing all the hosting myself. So I was DJing, but also hosting. And I got a bit more control in terms of what I got to say from on stage. Usually it was like, the John would be doing all the setups and I would kind of hit the punchlines. But this allowed me to tap into something that I used to do all the time, which was share stories from my life, try to make an emotional connection with an audience.
Yeah.
And there was two specific things that I got to do that really stood out. The first one was Jen's idea. She was like, hey, I saw you, and Jen, basically runs the show. She was like, I saw this thing on your Instagram with the light switch. Can you send me the video and talk about it? And the idea was like, when the light switch goes off, like work is done. And in a room full of nurses, like work-life balance is really tough. So I got to have this really cool moment where I walked them through that and they closed their eyes and we talked about stuff and they got some affirmations and all this stuff. And then we all turned the switch off themselves and they got to be here at NTI. It was really great. The third day, I got to talk about my mom, who was a nurse for a long time, long time. And just kind of tell a bit of her story. For me, my mom is one of my heroes, truly. While my dad wasn't totally gone in my life as a kid, my mom raised me. And I got to tell her the other day as I was driving home, I think it might have been on Christmas or Christmas Eve. I said, I just want you to know that I'm glad that I grew up with you and not with dad and not with you and then dad every other week. I'm really grateful that I got to be with you. Yeah. And she's such a wonderful person, but she is also so soft-spoken. And it's a story that the world may never have heard, even just bits and pieces of it. So to share this, a piece of my mom's story as a woman and a nurse in front of a room full of nurses was something that was really, really special to me.
Yeah, with that picture, it was really cool.
Yeah, the picture from, I don't know what year it was where my mom was a nurse, maybe late 2000s. I don't want to age her. I don't know. No, it was years and years ago before I was born, but that was really cool. So NTI was number 4 on my list.
That's amazing. Yeah, that was a really special thing for me to see too with your mom and the picture of her and all of that stuff.
Yeah. Pausing for trash cans or trash truck. What was your number 3?
My best friend in the whole entire world is Simone. She's been my best friend. We've been best friends for like 10 years, something like that. Something crazy, maybe more. Who knows?
Yeah,
maybe 12. I don't really know. But she just had a baby.
She just did 11 months ago.
Yeah, I know.
Today.
She had a baby in January.
This year's been a little bit of a
I don't know.
blur.
Her due date,
January.
I think her due date was February.
The end of January.
Yeah, and I think she gave birth in January. But that was my number 3, was becoming Auntie Kellie to Oliver. But it's more than that for me. I told you a little bit about this, not in terms of my top knots, but a little bit about this for me. Her giving birth is probably the closest, other than maybe Brooklyn, like I would have ever been to being in the room with someone as they give birth to a child. Like I was the next call and the only other person that she was thinking about having in the room outside of her husband. And
she called me. I
her
was
mom.
like,
no,
I
it
can't.
It didn't end up happening, which is totally fine. But we were outside of her, like her mom and her dad and all that stuff. We were the first
people to
see her and them. After she gave birth, like we got to go in the hospital a couple times and see them. It was very, very special and very, very sweet. But for me specifically, it's becoming an aunt. It's being able to share being a mother with my best friend, because I'm also a mother. Yes, my daughter is almost 9, but still, it's still there. But it was the moment of being in the room. It was like the day after she'd given birth, I think, and we were there, and it was her and I went to give her a hug, and I just remember her like breaking down and crying in my arms as she hugged me, and me kind of getting teary-eyed and crying too, as the understanding of like, she just went through this huge thing. She just gave birth to a kid, like literally went through that.
Yeah.
And I was the person that she wanted to, obviously, like, her husband and her mom and all that stuff, but I was
the
person.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah.
But I was the person that she wanted to like share that and express and let go and release some of that emotion with. And it was a really, really special moment for me. I don't think I've ever told her that, was a really special moment for me. I hold it really close to my heart because I was like, dang, like she is my sister. And like, this is how I would be with my sister too, after giving birth of like, yes, I just want to like be safe and comforted and held and know that I'm good. But it's really special. And it's been really fun to watch Ollie like grow, and he recognizes me probably because I look so much like his mom. Mm-hmm. He's like, you're the other one.
Yeah. You and Simone were dressed identical today.
Were we really?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh yeah, in our leggings and our sweaters.
Yeah. Your blonde hair.
Yeah, I know.
Holding a baby.
Holding a baby. But anyways, it was a really special moment. So that's my number 3 for me.
Nice. My number 3 is, I won't belabor it because I know we've talked about it on the show because it happened over the course of the show, but number 3 was my on-screen class with Robert Davanzo.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
That was really great. The short of it is I learned about Robert from Jenna Fisher's book. Jenna is Pam on The Office. And he was a really important coach and teacher for her. And I hit him up and he's like, it's an 18-month waiting list. Do you want me to email you then? And I was like, yes, whatever. Yeah, sure. And then it happened, and I jumped in, and it was the highlight of the 6 weeks that I was in it. It was the highlight of my week.
And he has to sign up for more.
I'm already signed up.
Oh,
in fact, yeah. The second Tuesday in January, I think I'm going in for some commercial classes there.
Amazing.
Should be great with my new commercial agent.
Learn something new every day.
Very exciting. We talked about this. Probably.
Oh,
anyway,
it doesn't matter.
It was such an important thing for me. It gave me so many tools. And it was just a much needed breath of fresh air during a really busy and kind of hectic season. Yeah. I don't know how many times I was on the road or working in October, but I'm pretty sure it was usually about twice a week, which means like flying one day, doing the gig the next day, flying another day. So it's like basically was gone all of October. Mm-hmm. So it was just work, crazy. And then to have this was so huge for me. So that was my number 3, was my on-screen class with Robert.
That was a really great one.
It was really
good class. You came back every week, like rejuvenated.
Yeah, and better than I was before.
Yeah,
like mentally, but also obviously professionally.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Really cool. All right, my number 2. We're now going to come to one that you already said.
We're in the home stretch.
Yeah,
okay.
Was Disney World with the girls.
Wow, that was your number 2.
It was the only like kind of vacation we took this year.
Yeah,
and to see some of our closest, my closest friends, your closest friends, our closest friends.
All the wives.
And with Ray,
the dog,
dog Ray. Yeah. But yeah, I had never been to Disney World, and so it was a really fun experience, and I have lots of good memories from that. Animal Kingdom was my absolute favorite. I'm so sad that we didn't get to spend more of the day there because that was also the day that we flew out and left. But it was so cool and such a great, fun time. Epcot, eating and drinking our way around the world, and Epcot was really fun. Getting to go on Tron in the Magic Kingdom. You weren't there for that. You were back with Ray at the hotel, but then we literally got rained out of Disney World because it was pouring, and we were like, yeah, we're done. We're gonna go back to the hotel.
Oh
now.
My gosh! And I picked you guys up. Yeah, it was pouring rain.
Yeah,
it was crazy. I literally only had time to go to the hotel, take the dog out, and then I was right back on the road getting you guys.
And we had gone on a whole ride, but it was a really, really fun trip. Truly, I think I had a blast.
Yeah,
I had a really good time, and it was coming right off of doing the DB gig out there, and unfortunately was cut short because we had to make it back for a wedding that we were last minute booked on. But it was just it was a highlight of my year, of a time that we just kind of got to be away.
Yeah, and now that I think of it, it was a vacation.
It was a vacation.
We flew to Florida and went to Disney World for 4 days.
That's true.
If that's not a vacation. What is?
I don't know.
Something more chill than that.
Yeah, it's a trip. But it was still a vacation. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it.
And that was your number 2?
Mm-hmm.
My number 2 might be your number 1 if you put it on the list. Okay, because it is a recent addition to this list.
You said you weren't going to add it.
As 2 days ago. Yeah, no, I said I was going to add it.
Oh.
I kicked something off my list for this.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
Number 2, SP's number 2 highest moment of 2023 is texting Brooklyn. Our daughter, Brooklyn, got an iPad at her other parents' house and an Apple Pencil because she is an avid crafter and artist and drawer. Yeah. And so that's great. And she's doing that. But also, she gets to text a small amount of people. It's locked. Like, you can't just text that iPad. But she can text you, me,
Dee Dee.
I'm trying to get some of the grandparents on there. Yeah. But she's going to be 9 in just a couple weeks. And it was awesome. I'm so in love with being able to text my kid. I know at some point it will become annoying or it'll be like, she doesn't text me back. But so far, it's been freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I can't
She's
even tell
learning.
you. I love this kid so much. And so I don't love the weeks that we're not with her. You know, we're always like, I miss B.
Yeah.
Now we can freaking text her that.
Or FaceTime her.
Or
call
her. Yeah, which we've done pretty much all of those things today.
She FaceTimed me yesterday to tell me a secret.
Oh, yeah.
That I can't tell you.
We'll save it.
You
for
know
a
what it is. I
secret
can't tell you.
episode.
Sorry.
Doesn't matter. But the fact that I can text my kid right now
It's pretty cool.
made my second, almost my first, but second highest moment of the year.
You said you weren't going to put it on there, so I wasn't going to talk about it until our next
episode?
Yeah.
Well, we can do that in the new year.
But that was number 11 for me.
Oh, really?
Was B's first. Like, we went to a Dodger game. She did Top Golf, texting. Like, it was a big year for her.
I'll throw this out there. We didn't mention this because it's not super relevant to people, but we often do a top moments of Brooklyn for the year too.
Yeah.
And we've done that as well. We
I
just
have
weren't
that
going to
too.
talk about it on the show.
Yeah. I have that
But
over here.
okay, see, I'm so glad you didn't do your 11 because you would have taken my 2.
Oh, yeah, I know.
See?
It's good. I didn't know you would put it back on there because I thought you had said this morning you were going to.
No, I must have misspoke her. You must have misheard either way.
Our number ones were never going to be the same.
No,
but I
because
love
I
that
know your
Brooklyn
number
can
one,
text.
and I bet you know my number one.
I don't know what your number
I
one
only
is.
know your number one because you haven't mentioned it yet.
Yeah, I know.
And
It
you
had to-
have, okay, go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kings, queens, and in-betweens, we have hit the number one moment in Kellie McGillicuddy's year, that year of our Lord, 2023. And it is...
It is.
Oh, you start with an I give you this great intro, and you're like...
It
"Merp."
is the Taylor Swift concert.
What?
What do you think it was going to
The
be?
Taylor Swift concert
Yeah,
had
I
to
was
be.
like,
There was no way it wasn't.
Yeah, you know, I've been to Taylor Swift concert before for some reason, twice, but for some reason, this was a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought tickets in 2022. That made my runner-up list, was being able to get tickets, which was just a pain in the butt in and of itself. The fact that I even made the list was incredible. The fact that I was able to get my hands on VIP tickets in an incredible section was amazing. And then that I got to share this moment with my husband, who was dressed up like Ken from Barbie that said F
That's
the
right.
patriarchy on the back, and everyone loved it. It was great. But
Lots
then
of
to get
pictures
to
with
share it.
friends.
Yeah, with my mom and my dad, who took me. My dad took me to my first Taylor Swift concert ever at Staples, which was, I think, right across the way from where we were. Because she doesn't do that anymore. She does arenas now. To go with Simone, and then to go with Jansen too, who came over and like made friendship bracelets with me and put tinsel in her hair and all that stuff. I mean, it was a blast. It was every Swiftie's dream come true. You hated every second of it.
Every second.
But I loved it. And Brooklyn went the day after me, which was so cool that we got to share some of that, like the excitement of being able to go to this concert. But truly, 3.5 hours well spent watching her, plus whatever was on the front side, 2 lavender hazes in, lots of dancing and fun. Took my shoes off because my feet hurt after a while. And none of it mattered.
I think Simone might have been the only person who kept her shoes on. Or
no,
Jansen
she took her
did?
shoes off. Jansen.
Yeah.
did. Simone and I both took her shoes off. But truly, it was an amazing concert. And I think it was, it's weird that it made my number one as I talk about it, but I just truly, to see your favorite artist in concert for 3.5 hours with some of your favorite people.
Yeah.
It was incredible. It was very fun. And the fact that I got to talk about it with Brooklyn, who also saw it the day after me, like we can bond over, remember that thing? And then to go and watch it in the theater for her friend Savannah's birthday and be like, Brooklyn, that's your night. Brooklyn, that's my night. Because they filmed in LA on our nights and both of our special songs ended up in the movie. I mean, I'm a nerd and I don't care, but it was great. It was truly a top moment for me.
It was the top moment.
Yeah, it was.
My top moment of 2023.
It's Taylor Swift?
The Eras Tour, baby. No. It was Hardly Working. It's the podcast. Not just the podcast, though, for a lot of reasons that you've already mentioned, but also building our studio.
Yeah.
You know, if you just listen, you don't get to see. We've got a 3-camera setup here with, 3 big beautiful lights, podcast microphones, Rodecaster, 810 video switcher, all of this stuff. And I'm always happy in here, and I was happy putting it together.
Good.
I'm excited that we'll be redesigning it soon a little bit.
Yeah.
But so I loved building it and putting it together because it was a puzzle too. We were like kind of solving how we're going to do it and how we're going to furnish it and all that stuff. We did this from nuts to bolt, from bolts to the ground up, soup to nuts, all the phrases. But the podcast itself, you know, I think we probably talked about it early on, and maybe we haven't on the show. I've done many podcasts through the last 10 years. This has been far and away my favorite, but also the longest running in terms of episodes. Yeah. And getting to chat with you, my best friend, has been wonderful. And I love doing it on quote unquote on air or on the podcast. Yeah. Because we get to connect in different ways too. Yeah. Like we wouldn't come up with a silly game to play that would make us laugh as hard as it does. Yeah. If we were just sitting on the couch having conversations.
Well, you never know.
Yeah, that does happen. But the level of intentionality that has to go into each episode, it's something that we wouldn't have.
Yeah, it's true.
So we get, you know, a couple hours a week that is carved out just for us in creativity and fun. And now as we go into 2024 with Hardly working through it, it won't just be the fun, but it'll also be like the heart and the growth and kind of the trickier pieces of life that we get to talk about and grow in. So I'm really excited and happy about that. But it all started kind of more as like a content generating machine. Yeah. Because I was sick of losing out on gigs to people who were in boy bands in the 90s and now get to host all the TV shows. Yeah. I was like, I want to have a podcast so people get like, you're going to see this face because the clips are going to be everywhere. You're going to be sick of me. That's how it started. And then it still has been that. We've had clips. I think our highest clip is at like just shy of 2 million views right now.
Is it my mosquito one?
No, that one's pretty high up there. But we have quite a few clips that have taken off, which has been really great. And that's always fun too. Yeah. But I think what I like the most, it started off weird because we had a lot of people that were telling us things about us that we were like, how do you know that? Like, oh, I listened to the show. And then at some point it was like a lot of people are talking about the show. Yeah. Like it's the only thing people talked about. And then it kind of has gotten to this place of normalcy. But to hear the people that we still do life with talk about like, oh yeah, I heard that when I was listening at the gym or as I was driving my kid to school or when I was on a flight, or I hope I have enough episodes for the flight home or whatever it is. It's been so cool because there's so many people, like podcasting to me as a listener has been kind of my version of friendships. Yeah.
That's true. You always say, my friends. I'm listening to my friends.
Not a day goes by that I'm not listening to multiple podcasts. I know. Like re-listening to old ones. Because that's how it fills my friendship tank. Yeah. And it's cool to feel like I get to do that for some people. Yeah. Like there's a few shows I'm obsessed with. And there's going to be somebody that's going to be obsessed with this. That's just like, once I'm done, I go back to episode 1 and keep listening and see how it changed and how they figured out who they were as they went through, and then they really hit their stride. And this, like, it's so cool to get to do that. And of course, anytime I get to spend with you is some of my favorite time.
Love you.
I love you too. So those are our top 10, 20 really.
Oh, wow.
But top 10 individual moments of the year. Before we wrap up and say sayonara to the year that was 2023, we've got to hit some of our honorable mentions and then close it out with some of our worst moments, our knots. So before we get to the knots, Kelly, hit me with some of your honorable mentions, the ones that didn't quite make it into the top 10, but are still worth shouting out.
All right, don't come for me, but Beyonce concert.
Really?
Yeah, was on my runner-ups. It didn't make my tops, but was on my runner-ups. It was a fun night with Sean, who surprised me with tickets. Yeah. It was great. It was good. Mm-hmm. Murder Mystery Party, Ashley May's Murder Mystery birthday party.
Oh, yeah.
It was a pretty fun night.
That's on my list, too.
Beetlejuice
is on my list.
Holly and Eric. It was so great. I already told you that your agents and acting class and commercials were on this one. Yep. And then there's 2 more for me on my runner-ups. Slime Obsidian.
Whoa.
We found that this year.
Yes, our slime dealer.
And then I don't know if you remember this, but our Ruth's Chris dinner date night, where we used the gift card that was given us to go. I didn't need to share that bit, I guess, but that's why we went. Is because we had.
Well, we don't go to Ruth Chris without a gift card because we like steaks the way we make steaks at home.
It's true, but it was a good night.
It was. It was also weird because it's in like the malls are abandoned.
Mall, yeah. When the nice ones across the street. Yeah.
Very odd. I do remember that. I remember that moment. So a lot of your runner-ups were on my list as well. Mm-hmm. I'll hit you with some of mine. Okay. First, which you mentioned earlier in one of your categories, but it was drag brunch with Scott.
Yeah.
It was a great, great time. Drag brunch. I think we left at 10:30 and we got home at like 7:30. So
Yeah,
it was a brunch that lasted all day long, and it started or rekindled a friendship with Scott. Yeah, that I never had and you had, now is back. So it was really, really fun and sweet. Beetlejuice with Holly and Eric, guys. That was actually I think our first episode.
Oh, we should say Beetlejuice
the musical.
Yeah,
yes, not
if you
the
haven't
movie.
seen it, you should see it when it comes back around.
It is laugh out loud funny.
So good.
And Holly and Eric, even though we weren't your first call, I'm still glad we went with you guys.
You don't know that.
They Eric told us.
They were there. Their other
like,
friends were there that night because they had their own tickets. Yeah.
Next, I mentioned it earlier, the Dandy Men shoot, just another commercial I got to do. Hollywood Bowl with Rob Foray.
Oh, yeah.
Rob hit me up. Rob lives in Salt Lake, and he's like, hey, I've got a ticket for the live orchestra performance of The Nightmare Before Christmas. You want to come? I was like, let's do it. So Danny Elfman was there doing the score, Scandal noted, and a lot of other celebrities were doing guest voices and all that. So it was very really cool. Kelly's birthday made my list.
Aw,
yeah,
just the runner-ups.
Well, if
it's okay.
In light of like what your 30th was, which was probably on there,
I was like number one for both of us. I think that year.
But this, for all the reasons you mentioned, still was important enough to say. But it didn't beat out the
for
top
sure.
stuff.
You had a lot of top stuff this year, for sure.
I know, it's true. One that just got booted off my list today because Brooklyn's been texting us was updating our house.
Oh, yeah.
New floors, new couch, new chair, new dishwasher. Brooklyn's room and bedroom. I'm sure we'll hear about the dishwasher later. Yeah. Brooklyn's bedroom. That was part of that, at least, was this year when we were, getting her a bunk bed.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not even a bunk bed. It's a top bunk with a desk and play area.
It's really cool. Yeah.
But redoing that was a big thing. You mentioned Loki earlier. I put premieres on my list because there was quite a few that were fun. Loki, which you talked about. Quiz Lady, which was, I think, the most recent one.
Yep.
Elemental,
the
Pixar movie, which is part of my favorite summer of the year or ever. Ant-Man Quantumania, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantumania was the first one of the year that I did. And Ahsoka, which I flew up to San Francisco to do. So it was a fun year for premieres. You mentioned Ashley May's Murder Mystery Party. Very fun. Top Golf made my runners up.
Yeah, that was my number 11.
Oh, really?
Remember, I said first.
Technically 12 now.
Yeah, B's first Dodger game, Top Golf and testing. But Top Golf was like a big one.
So shout out to Sean for bringing us Top Golf.
Yeah.
I had been there years and years ago, but it was so much fun. It was great to do with Brooklyn. We've been back there since. It was a lot of fun. So that was really cool. The last couple ones that I have are Kia Cash Bash.
Yeah.
Not just because it was fun giving away, I think it was $1.2 million, which is absurd, but true.
A lot of money.
But also connecting with Corey. Like Corey and I have both been so busy that we haven't gotten time to hang. And we spent the whole flight out to Las Vegas talking about what we're doing and our ideas and just rekindling that creative brainstorming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was really, really fun to get to do that. The moonshine taste test that we did, I believe it was the season finale of season one.
Yeah.
And we tried all sorts of different moonshines.
Yeah.
And shout out to John Holmer for finding the Eggo moonshine.
Yeah, we still haven't found it.
I still have not found it. The last couple thkind it's the last thing. Yeah. I didn't talk about all the new companies that I've worked for, but I kind of put together a list of the people that I've worked with that have been new. So this year I got to work with Derek Jeter for an event, Abby Wambach.
Oh, yeah, she was nice.
She was wonderful.
Probably
the coolest person
most down to earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
super cool.
Other than Haley Herbert.
Yeah.
I think is super down to earth.
See, for me, I'm like, I didn't put anyone that I met at the wedding or anything, just corporate events and that kind of stuff. Nate Bargatze, the stand-up comedian. I worked with him at DirecTV.
Okay.
Fat Joe and Ashanti I worked with.
Yep.
Train I worked with like 2 days later. Dancing with the Stars I worked with this year.
Yeah, me too.
Thanks to Corey and Tara and the Red Hot Band.
In some way, shape, or form.
You met a lot of the dancers.
Yeah.
Took photos with a lot of dancers. I worked with a band called Low Cash, which I don't really know much about. And then getting to do South by Southwest. That's a pretty huge
that was a good one.
Conference/convention that I've never been a part of. Like, it's weird. I'm like, Comic-Con, like we've done it. D23, like there's certain things. CES, we've done it. Like the big ones.
Yeah.
And this was just one that we've never been a part of. So South by Southwest made the list.
Cool, yeah, in Austin.
Yeah, in Austin. Got to do that with you as well, which was very cool.
It was a busy couple weeks for me.
Yeah. So those were my honorable mentions. You
really
ready to get into the
Yeah,
nitty gritty?
I don't have very many.
Yeah, it's interesting because this year, half of this year was really difficult for me, but it's because of what you'll see on my list. But I will preface it. I knew it was going to happen.
Fell. It's okay.
Hopefully we got it on there this time on camera. It sounded like it broke.
Yeah, it's okay. I was like, it probably broke, but it's old.
So the truth is I was hanging a Merry Christmas sign behind me if you're just listening, but the sticky thing I'm using to hang it are just to organize your cords on a table. I don't think they're supposed to be used for holding things on walls.
It's okay.
But here we are. Anyway, 2023, we've gone through our tops, our runners up, but there cannot be light without darkness. There cannot be good without evil. There cannot be tops without knots.
Yeah.
So while I don't have 10, I have less than 10, it is time to go into our weirdest and worst moments of 2023.
I only have 4.
I believe that I have about that many as well. I have 4 as well. I bet we've got some crossover. Wait a minute. That's Brooklyn's list, and I have more than that. I still have 4. All right, hit me with one in no particular order unless you'd like to.
Your mom being sick for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I know that it's just a weird knot, but it was a weird enough that it stood out in my mind.
Yeah, and of course it's a more recent one in the last month and a half or so. But yeah, it always sucks to be sick over the holidays and to not really get to spend any style of Thanksgiving with my mom/family was a bummer. Usually every year we do Steaksgiving with them, not on Thursday, but usually like the Monday before, make sure we have Brooklyn. But yeah, unfortunately she got sick around that time. My sister was sick, had to go to the ER at the same time, right around that same time. So it was a bit of a tumultuous time for my side of the family.
Yep.
One of mine, unless there's anything you want to add to that.
No? I shook my head. No, sorry.
One of my worst moments was fixing the tile floors in our house. So I have that
Forgot
gene.
that you did that.
Oh, yeah. I will never forget.
Yeah, I know.
I have the how hard could it be gene.
Yeah, how hard could it be?
Yeah, which is like, I got YouTube and, money to buy supplies.
I can learn. Yeah.
When I tell you this tile was like concreted into the floor.
Oh, yeah.
It's an understatement. So every time there was a tile or two that was loose and one that was broken. So I had to take like 2 tiles up. In the process, cracked another tile because the grout was so hard. So basically every time I'd get a tile out, the tile next to it would break. And it was a nightmare. It was days and days long being glove deep in grout.
Yeah.
Only to lay it back down to find that like the new tile that I laid was slightly lower than the other tile, so it wasn't even level. And I was like, this is going to be the death of me.
Yeah, and it was in the most walkable area in our house.
It's
like the place that you have to walk by.
So we were walking over it for a while. It was a nightmare. That made one of my worst moments. Yeah. Well, we fixed it. That's for sure. What's your next one?
Sorry.
Uh-oh.
The
podcast?
No, my initial birthday fail.
Wow. I made the not list.
Really, it was just a series of unfortunate events.
Okay, you tell it from your side, and then I'll tell you the real story.
Listen, my husband was being very intentional. You were being very intentional trying to make a birthday dinner happen. I really wanted to go to Din Tai Fung for my birthday. So initially, it was reaching out to both sides of the family to see if they were available. They weren't available, which is totally okay. Then it was, okay, we're going to go to Din Tai Fung. We'll go to the one at the Americana brand because it's busy, but, it's not always that busy. So we'll go, we'll put our name and we'll walk around. It'll be great. We're going to do it with Brooklyn. Try to make a reservation. Couldn't make a reservation. Totally fine. It's fine. We're going to wait, like a half hour to an hour is what we normally wait for 3 people.
December 10th, by the way.
Yeah, it can't be that much. It's totally okay. It is a Sunday in the month of Christmas, but it'll be fine. Drive all the way down there just to find that Din Tai Fung has now changed from being at the Americana brand to being in the Glendale Galleria, which is a mall and way busier and crazier around this time of year, as you can imagine, because it's a mall during Christmas. Go inside, try to find this Din Tai Fung, finally find it. Go say, we have 3 people. Like, what's the wait? 2.5 hours. It is 5 something. On a Sunday, our child has school the next day. Ain't no way we're going to sit in Glendale for 2.5 hours to wait for Din Tai Fung to be ready. Mind you, Brooklyn and I have been so excited about this. We've talked it up.
And Brooklyn's starving.
We know what we're going to get. We're so excited. I've been looking forward to it all week long. Had a crazy week of gigs. Was ready. Was so excited. And then we didn't even get to do it. And we ended up going to the stand, which wasn't even that good. And I had a bad attitude because I felt not cared for in the moment. Even though I was telling myself, there's nothing we could have done. We couldn't have known that it was going to move, all this stuff. It was just a bad day for me. Made up very quickly in the next 2 days when you took me to Din Tai Fung for my birthday.
If only I could tell Kellie on December 10th, that in just 2 days,
We'll be
that
right
day
back
will
here.
make your top 10 list of the year.
I know.
Of the year.
I know. I just, birthdays are hard. And my birthday in particular is hard because it's right in the middle of the craziest season of the year. And then quickly followed up by our daughter's birthday in January. Like, it's just a crappy time to have a birthday. People shouldn't have kids in December. I'm just saying. Not like you can control it. I get it. But
I mean, there's certain things you can do.
Yeah, that's true. But you know what I mean. Like, it's just I love my birthday. I love the time of year because I love the time of year. But it can be difficult sometimes. So it was a sad day for me. But then quickly made up. And you weren't doing anything wrong. I just want everyone to know. It's not like you failed. It's not like you failed. There was just a lot of things that went into it that made it so it didn't work. And we had also talked about going earlier too. Like, initially we were going to go down to the mall at like 3:30, and then we didn't end up getting there until 5, which, like, I don't know. We were just kind of being lazy. That was partly on me. A lot on me.
Look, I won't even keep explaining because I think you nailed it.
All that to say, I love you. You didn't do anything wrong. I was just having big emotions.
I'm just going to go with the fact that your birthday
was great.
Was on your top 10. They cancel each other out.
Yeah.
So it's even. It's a wash.
Yeah.
Next time I won't try as hard. Next, car breakdowns.
Yeah, that's.
Is that on your list?
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be a bigger part of
my list. Is my number 1 on my top knots.
Not just my car breaking down, though.
Yeah, no.
Well, I will say my part. So my car, which I've loved for many years, is a Mazda CX-5.
Yeah.
And we found out this year that the energy from the battery basically trickles out slowly.
Yep.
Not like a normal car.
Like Mazda told us this.
Yeah, Mazda told us this when I took it in. And since I was on the road so much, my car just wasn't getting driven. I didn't have a reason. I was flying everywhere. And that leads to part of Kellie's problems.
Yeah, which I have 2 more before. I have 1 more before that one.
All right, well, we'll talk about it after then. Okay. Once we get to yours, we'll hold those details for that. So what's your next one?
My next one is getting the stomach flu.
Oh, talk about December. Recent. Yeah, pulling back the curtain a little bit.
Yeah.
We recorded days 1 through 9 all together.
This one we gave some distance because your girl got the stomach flu.
Yes.
And so here we are now. But yeah, I got stomach flu, which I haven't had the stomach flu in years. Probably, this is the weirdest thing to say, probably the easiest stomach flu I've ever had, for sure. Definitely threw up. Sorry for all of you queasy people out there. Definitely threw up every hour and a half, like on the dot, which was kind of nice. And it happened through the night. So I got to sleep, wake up, throw up, sleep, wake up, throw up.
You are a lunatic.
But
that sounds horrible.
It still wasn't fun.
Horrible.
But in the grand scheme of things that you can have, it's not that bad.
Disagree.
It was terrible in the moment.
Yes.
But I don't think I'm a complainer when it comes to being sick.
You're not.
I just kind of am like, it is what it is. Here we are.
It's true.
Make it through.
Anything else on that one?
No, just stomach flu.
My next one, and this was a big part of my list, flying too much and getting all messed up is what I wrote. So basically what had happened, and we've talked about it a little bit on the show, I flew so much, and like sometimes we'll have years where it's like lots of gigs in Vegas, in San Fran. Those are like 45-minute flights. So much of my year was spent on the opposite coast, the East Coast, a lot in Florida, and then even some in Europe.
Yeah.
I was just flying so much that my fingers and like ankles were swollen.
Got swole.
Yeah, it's ripped. But I like couldn't use my hands and feet the way that I needed to.
Yeah.
I was having tremendous leg pain, foot pain so bad that I couldn't even like have a sheet on it or stand on my feet. Imagine flying to a gig where you know you're going to be on stage on your feet for 4 days in a row and waking up not being able to stand on one foot.
Because it hurts. Yeah.
It was.
You were limping for a while.
Bad. It was so bad. And it was another one of those thoughts where I was like, is this just, as you get older, you start to realize.
You need things like compression socks.
Well, there's that. But I remember the first time I had this moment. I was doing an event, and just for the very beginning, they threw me on the front stage to DJ as people were walking in to make it a big party. And they put me so far towards the back of the stage that I fell off the stage. And so it was only a couple feet up. So my left foot hit the ground, but my right knee slammed against the stage. And it was the first time that it just wouldn't get better, that I realized, oh, this might be a permanent thing. Thankfully, it wasn't. But you get to a certain age where you stop just being like, this will be fine in a few days.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, you go like, oh, no, this might just be the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And that's what I was feeling like, not only with the anxiety that we talked about, but with my hands and my feet feeling the way that they were. I was like, is this just what my life is now? Like I couldn't climb. It was a struggle to climb up to Brooklyn's top bunk and read with her and get out of bed. It was a struggle to help you or Brooklyn put a necklace on because like I couldn't.
Fingers,
I couldn't do it. And so it was like, not only was it a physically painful moment, but it was kind of an existentially painful moment of like, is this what it's going to be? Are my best physical days behind me? Are my days that didn't have pain and anxiety behind me?
Yeah.
And so flying so much and messing up my body has to be number one, if not number two on my not list of 2023.
That makes sense. You have one more though, I'm guessing?
I do.
Okay.
And you're on to the last one.
This is my last one. Yeah.
So I'll just throw this in here, and it's not even worth talking about in great detail. My number one or two, depending on how you label it, is high anxiety. From about August 2022 until June 2023, and then starting up again in September 2023, I've had the highest anxiety of my life. Like to the level where I would equate some of them to panic attacks. Nothing that was ultimately debilitating. And I don't know if it's because it wasn't that bad or because I've learned how to turn it on, like to know, like
Probably
if I'm going to be on a stage,
one.
like you just got to get together. There's no other option.
Probably that one.
So the anxiety I've had through this year has been so difficult that it's made, especially when you partner it with all the crap that happened from flying so much. I was like, I'm a mess. I'm an absolute wreck, which also contributed in the best way possible to my favorite summer ever and getting to do this show and having something that was just ours. There was no boss. There was no success or failure, as you've probably seen and heard through. Like some episodes, the audio didn't get recorded. Like, but you know what? We do our best every single week to put something out that we're proud of, and that summer and this podcast has allowed me to take some of that back, and I'm really grateful for it.
That's great.
Let's talk about your lowest moment, but your highest not. Which seems to be in your back right now, judging by your face.
No. No, my highest not on my nots list was, you kind of said it, you said your car problems, but for me, it was a broken pipe underneath our sink, a broken dishwasher, and your car not working with just about all of my photo booth equipment in it. Stuck at the condo.
And I was in France.
And
at the
you
time.
were in, you were somewhere else. You were very
Morocco.
Yeah, you were very far away from me. You were in a different country. Yeah. So it was just me. I don't remember if I had Brooklyn for some of this.
Who knows?
Although I think I probably did. So I think I was going and dropping her off at school and coming back and taking her to soccer and trying to figure out all the things. And so having to figure that all out on my own between 2 weeks where he truly was gone, because this was the time of the year where he was gone for a week, home for 2 days, gone for 3 days, gone for a week, home for 2 days. It was crazy. So that was probably the lowest point for me, is trying to figure out things that I feel like I wasn't prepared for. Like, Dad never prepared me for this.
Well, there's more to it as well. Not only was I gone, but because you were getting busy too, you had a lot of photo booth gear and stuff inside the house. Then the dishwasher starts to leak, which also shows us that there has been a leak underneath our sink.
Oh yeah, so our cabinets had to be replaced.
Dishwasher had to be ordered. We found out that was probably part of the reason why the tile was coming up. So now, not just all that, but now we've got random people coming into our house
with all of my photo booth stuff that I'm trying to keep clean, but our house is just a mess because our cabinets are breaking and our dishwasher's broken and our pipe for our water in our kitchen is absolutely broken. So I can't,
the whole pipe.
Yeah, so I can't really wash any dishes. So we're just kind of here, and I had to get like a specific type of dishwasher that isn't really popular anymore, and so it was hard to find. And so it was like March or May.
This was April.
So it was either wait until
July,
late July, like July 27th to like get the nicer version of the dishwasher, or like get one that's like good enough in 2 weeks. And so it was like, well, what do you want to do? The good enough one.
That was a lot. And then you had to call AAA because my car was parking you in.
Twice.
So she called. They're like, battery's dead. They swap it out like 3 or 4 days later.
2 days.
I'm still gone.
I was like, I'll go and unload everything out of this car now.
Battery's dead again.
Battery's dead. It's called a AAA person who came and did the same thing. And thankfully helped me. But it was so good.
But then I took my car to Mazda and they're like, oh yeah, that's what these do. We had to start you know what? It's not my place to talk about Mazdas in the company. I'm just saying they told me that, yeah, this is what happens with the car. I was like, time to start looking for a new car.
But that was my worst moment of the year. And you know, honestly, this didn't even make it to the list, but it did because it like was such a visceral feeling. Is that right? When I said it, it's a love-hate relationship for me for soccer with Brooklyn. Truly, it's not even the soccer, it's just the driving. The amount of driving that I did in the season that you were gone and on trips a lot was really tough for me to drive from the Valley to Thousand Oaks, back to the Valley, then to Woodland Hills, back to the Valley.
Real quick.
Multiple days in a row.
If I'm not here on like a Monday,
it's me.
This is what Kelly's doing. She's leaving the house at 7:15 to drive 45 minutes to Thousand Oaks, and then 45 minutes back. Then a couple hours later, she drives back to Thousand Oaks for 45 minutes to pick up Brooklyn, then back to our house for 45-minute drive there to have about 30 to 45 minutes of homework before driving 30 minutes over to West Hills for soccer for an hour and then 30 minutes back. So some of these days are just, parents understand it. My mom used to say, I just feel like the taxi driver in the family.
Yeah.
And it kind of was that.
Yeah. But so that should have made my not her playing soccer. Playing soccer
that
as a
would
whole,
make my not
we didn't
list.
even talk about that, but that was pretty terrible too. She had a couple panic attacks at soccer this year.
I almost got kicked out of a game.
Yeah, because some kid hit her and you yelled.
And then I hit that kid.
No,
with
yelled
my
at the
voice.
Kid. But soccer was a pretty tough season, and while I still cannot confidently look at you or anybody and say, oh yeah, she loves it. Because I don't know that she does. I think she loves winning, but I don't know that she actually loves the game. And I literally said this to you. I was like, not that she was in the game enough this year to really know if she liked it or not, because she would be in for like a quarter and maybe make a goal, but then like freak out and then be out for 3 quarters of the game. Yeah. She made it to All-Stars. How great. It's a whole thing. But that would be my not list is soccer. I love watching her do stuff, but
look, we had a top 10 plus that many and more honorable mentions. Our list for knots was about 4 each. That's pretty impressive. A pretty amazing year. And what a wonderful way to end not just 2023, but Hardly Holidays, day 10.
Holidays.
I had a great time. You want to do it again next year?
Sure.
Let's do it. And I hope you had a great time hanging with us, listening to our crazy games, going through our 2023 lists and all of the other stuff that we did. And I hope that you, whether it's by yourself, with a friend, a family member, a partner, it doesn't matter. Maybe you start doing your top knots as well. You know, one thing we didn't get to do was talk about things we're looking forward to for next year. Maybe we'll save it for
another time.
The next show.
There you go.
Which will be coming to you in 2024. But until then, I hope the rest of your year and the upcoming year is filled with joy, happiness, and health, and that you spend most of your time hardly working. Bye until 2024. Bye.
Bye.